चलो ब्रेकिंग कर दिया हाँ जी
Live.
all right so the IPL auctions have been stopped for the time being. What happened looked very scary. Auctioneer Hugh
You admits.
admits
Yeah.
sorry
You admits.
Hugh Admitis
Yes. Yeah.
Admitis collapsed right in the middle of the auctions, and it looked very scary. He fell straight on the
He
ground.
fell flat on his
first.
face.
Yeah, face first, and it looked very scary. The and just to let our viewers know that there are no backup options as far as the auctions are concerned. So the gentleman is flown in. Like you would remember, Richard Madley used to conduct these IPL auctions for the longest time. In fact, he was there till 2018 before Hugh Admitis joined. And the IPL auctions for the time being have been stopped. So that is the news that we are getting to hear, or what we saw there in Bangalore.
Still, there's no official word from
Nothing
the BCCI.
official word, just that
And it looked pretty scary. The RCB analyst was just he was shocked and he was holding his head like
Yeah,
this.
I mean the franchise owners, they were horrified. They were holding their hands.
okay. So they have taken lunch as of now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just reading this one of his interviews. So this is a pretty long auction, like a 12-hour auction. So I'm quoting his quote from an interview. He says that he has conducted a lot of 2-day auctions, but has never conducted one that could last for 12 hours. So maybe he was standing there from till 12.
The auction started at what?
12.
12.
So it's 2 o'clock.
Not much time has passed,
Yeah.
I guess.
So
2.5 hours. Even
we
then,
don't- yeah.
2 hours, and even then we had a break of what 15-20 minutes, right?
it looked really bad. We don't want to speculate. We're still waiting for an official word from the BCCI or the IPL, and we hope that he's all right. So fingers crossed.
So, just to let our viewers know why they're not able to, see, or what we are not discussing here at the moment, is that the auctioneer has collapsed. He fell straight with his face first on the ground, right in the middle of the auctions. The auctions have been halted for the time being. They've taken lunch, and there has been no official word as of now from the IPL Governing Council or the BCCI. But it's actually a very taxing job. Arun, Nikhil, in fact, I was speaking to Richard Madley yesterday. He was the one who told me that you don't have a backup option. Although, if I am not wrong, Delhi Capitals had they had asked an auctioneer to fly in because they wanted to conduct a mock auction. So they had an auctioneer who flew in just for this purpose.
This year only, right?
Yes, for mock auctions. So, but obviously,
That was
sorry?
That was a few days ago, or
Yes,
is he
yes.
still there?
Yeah. No, but I don't think that BCCI should or can allow somebody to replace, because it takes time, all the checks and balances, and then. But as of now, I think it looked, he was not moving at that point in time.
He fell from the podium.
Exactly.
It was pretty high, and
Yes.
he fell flat on
At
his
least
face.
a 2-3 feet high stage on which from where he was conducting the auctions, behind the podium, and suddenly we saw right in the middle of that auction. In fact, the bidding was happening for Hasaranga. It had reached beyond 10 CR, if I'm not wrong. And suddenly what we saw, thank you so much. And suddenly what we saw was that all the franchisee people, in fact, they just had stood up in shock from their respective.
We have an update from it says that auction will resume at
At
3:30 p.m.
3:30.
So hopefully,
Maybe they are considering the Delhi option Rahul sir was talking about.
so
Maybe.
we'll get some clarity.
Resume.
Yeah, it's like
So probably we'll get some clarity at 3:30 p.m. when the auction will resume.
yeah.
Yes.
And
So just to give you some latest update, I'm just telling you based on what we're getting to hear from social media and what the BCCI has been saying, some representatives of IPL franchises have been saying that nothing to worry, that he should be back. I will even give credit to some of those folks that have been telling. There is, as you know, a well-known cricket journalist in Vijay Tagore. He's now, and we know that he brings you the IPL news. He says news from the auction room. The auctioneer is apparently fine, so that is heartening to see. He's a well-known cricket reporter, so I'm giving you his update at the moment. Hindu has also given an update in which you have. I'm just going
And the
to
auctions are resuming at 3:30 p.m., which would be, in fact, exactly an hour from now. Exactly from now, in fact, an hour from now rather, the auctions will resume. The auctions unfortunately had to be halted because the auctioneer collapsed suddenly in the middle of a bidding process, and he fell flat on his face.
So they're saying update from ground zero is that Hugh Edmedes, the auctioneer, this is Gautam Bhimani, a presenter, he says the auctioneer is fine but a bit shaken, was a physical fall, no internal issues with him.
Okay.
So he's saying it's a physical, may have missed a step or lost his balance. Had it been a medical issue, internal issue, then it would have been serious. Though I will say, when I saw that 1 second visual or 2 second visual, it was horrifying. Yes. So it didn't seem like a physical, but at least let's go with the one that are on record, people that are on record. Yes, I'm quoting folks on social media. So Gautam Bhimani, who's apparently there, he says from ground zero, so he's there. So which means that there's not much to worry about at the moment. So physical fall is what is being said at the moment. What did people are saying, the analysis are continuing on the broadcaster. What do you make of it? Should analysis continue or should you give a medical update? I'll give you a comparison of what happened with Christian Eriksen during the Euros. He had a fall, and at that time, I think the broadcaster goofed up. It was awful to watch the broadcast.
player formed a wall, in fact.
Yes, player. No, but the Indian broadcaster goofed up majorly. They didn't have anyone experienced to have conducted it. See, you needed someone with experience. So they didn't know what to do. But I was looking at some foreign broadcast, and because you could watch all of it online, the BBC, and they did a fantastic job. But what they did is they did not talk about the match, which is happening in the broadcaster right now, as we can see, or they are talking about IPL auctions. I think this is a time to give people an update of what may have happened there and not be on the broadcast per se. But I'd love to know your views as well. What did you guys?
I think they will give that medical update as soon as they get one.
It's such a shocking moment that at this time, if you're discussing who's been bought, who's been sold, doesn't.
Maybe they
I
don't.
don't know. It's insensitive. Absolutely.
They don't have any medical update as of yet, I think.
Well, in that case, that's what I'm saying. This is where experience comes in. Then you need to be saying, are we talking about IPL auction? Then
Maybe health is paramount. If someone has fallen, I think that is.
can I now be saying, wow, David Warner gone for no, wow, no surprise. That nothing is more important.
And obviously, broadcaster. Okay, let's not get into all that, but
I'll get my laptop. Sorry.
sure.
Maybe they were waiting for an update, or like they didn't want to jump the gun. But yeah, they should have said some word.
Sure. That something has happened, and let's not speculate. We are still trying to assess the situation. What's the report from there? They could have easily, anyways. But they're talking about who's been bought for how much. Anyways, I won't get into that. We are doing our job. We can let them do theirs. But those of you who joined us, it's interesting. In fact, somebody has just tweeted me, and he's saying that he's quoting that interview of Richard Madley. I did an interview with Richard Madley. In fact, he said that the auctioneer can actually collapse and he might just fall.
Yeah, because it's a very.
His exact words.
Yeah, because this is a very long auction. It could go for 12 hours, and it's a 2-day long thing. So not just you have to be prepared, not just mentally but physically as well.
True. So this is what has happened. But gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, The news from the auctions is that the auction will resume again at 3:30. That is in about 56 minutes from now. And the auctioneer, of course, who collapsed. I don't know whether collapse is the right word or not right now. Why? Because we've also been told by those who are present there. There are journalists who are covering, who are there. I presume that they are there in the auctions in Bangalore. Although there's a bio bubble, I doubt if
Can be
yeah, because yes, other than the bubble. So what we have been told, or what we are getting to hear, is that it was a physical fall. So there's not much to worry. Maybe he just basically tripped. That's it. So hopefully, and there's nothing, because the scenes at that point in time were very scary, because he was not moving. He was lying flat on his face, and that's what had happened. And that is the reason why we had to cut short even our broadcast, the earlier broadcast. And as we resume, and the break that has been taken, in fact, the auctions or the people involved there have taken lunch, and hopefully everything is fine.
Yeah. So hopefully at 3:30 we'll again see Hugh Edmonds starting the auction, and we'll continue with Hasaranga, and hopefully he's all right and fine.
Chris Morris is not part of the auctions this time.
He is retired.
He is part of the auction analysis. See, the people say, again, I want to know, people say that, look for the future, build for a future. 1 year ago, he was the most expensive player. 1 year later, he's the analyst.
No, but the job
There's
is
no
done.
future.
No, job is done.
What did he do in that?
He's saying that
No, see, at the end of the day, 16.25 CR, if I'm not wrong, 16.25 CR is what he earned.
Yes. No, he earned. I'm just saying there is nothing future. Like if you thought that we'll get him for a few more days, there's nothing which is called. ये कॉफी तो मैं अपनी ले आया. Thank you, sir. कुछ और चाहिए? पानी वानी कुछ नहीं. Thank you, sir. So.
No
that
buys
is-
for Mumbai Indians. Mumbai has not.
But tell me one thing, I wanted to ask you while I'm doing it, and you guys can all answer one by one. I know that they're saying, and we'll only report what we're being told, and that is that he's had a physical fall, okay? But sometimes you get these careful messages drafted because you don't want to spend panic. I'm just going by that visual that I saw of him lying on his face,
Not
motionless. That scared me, and I fingers crossed, I hope it is a physical fall only, but it didn't seem like that in that one.
But I think,
shot.
Nikhil, if they are saying that
Yeah,
they're
then
going
I'm
to
going with
resume
them.
at 3:30, because had it been not physical, I think they would have needed a doctor or somebody.
No, so even then, even if it's a physical call, can it happen in whatever time by 3:30? In like less than 50 minutes, can it happen?
I think the doctor must have given a go ahead, because I'm pretty sure they must have taken some medical opinion, and
I think there is a statement that's been issued.
I've checked.
No.
Not better yet, but
Not on Twitter, but BCCI. A BCCI statement. He should be back for the next set. ठीक है. We are expecting, obviously, the auctions cannot resume without the auctioneer. So, and since there is no backup plan, so Hugh Edmonds has to be back, and hopefully he's fine. You can come here. You can come here. Huh? No, sit. I'll just take a little break.
so wishes are pouring in for the auctioneer. Preeti Zinta has tweeted. A lot of guys have shown concern, and what we are hearing is that he's all right. It was a physical fall, and the auction will resume at 3:30 p.m. So, Siddhant, what?
Nothing. I was seeing it live, and I
The
was.
visual shocked me.
The,
I'm just saying.
I'll tell you honestly. The moment I looked at the visual, I got scared.
Yes. So
I actually jumped up and told everybody like the auction has fallen, and yeah, thankfully he's all right. Thankfully everything is okay, as we got to know later. But yeah, at that moment, every one of us was a little scared.
I can see people tweeting about his health and all, but we'll wait until something officially comes out, and then we'll tell our viewers as well what is the health update of that auctioneer.
Yeah, but thankfully it was just him losing the balance and falling off the stage, because
I
the,
hope
the no matter what anybody says, those visuals were extremely dramatic. So
Franchise, even like the visuals were really scary. The people who were present there, they were holding their heads, but that's what we are hearing, that it's a physical fall. And let's see, 3:30 p.m. the auction will resume, and we will get you all the updates. Meanwhile, the bidding was going on for Hasaranga.
Mavendu Asaranga is already the biggest foreign buy this year.
Yeah.
10.75 crores, I guess it was.
Okay, so the ESPN Cricinfo's statement says, according to BCCI spokesperson, our auctioneer is stable. The medical guys are attending to him. He should be back for the next set.
Okay, so
So that's great news.
that's great. So it was just him losing balance, basically. That is all.
No, it was him losing balance. That was fine. But what the visual I saw of him, lying face first and being motionless.
Exactly.
But I think the visual may have been misleading, and to be fair, because they only cut for it for 2 seconds. Had it been a longer duration visual,
Maybe he just got up, but everybody who's seated right there just got up in shock, like what had
Actually, I
happened.
got scared by looking at the faces of the people that
Yeah.
were there. First reaction was from
Awesome.
RCB.
RCB, yeah, that.
And then you saw Aryan Khan and everybody
Because
get up.
Reports have started to come out, and they're saying that he's fine, and auction is expected to resume at 3:30, and he'll be there.
No, that is, yeah. So the Hindu is also reported now. Official broadcaster has confirmed Hugh Edmides is fine, and the auction is expected to resume at 3:30 p.m., which we've also told you in advance. So that was unfortunate, the incident. But just to also let you guys know, because we had the other auctioneer joining us yesterday on Sports Today, he gave an interview, and at that interview he had mentioned one thing, that there is never a backup when it comes to an auctioneer. There is only one guy. That tweet I've already read out. Yes. So there is never a backup. And I think maybe this will now prompt BCCI to look into it. That you need
probably.
to have a... See, he's the guy who's conducting the whole show. What is it? The guy who does the orchestra? The one who, stands and...
Oh yeah, correct.
yeah, what is the word for it? So he's that. He's that guy. And so,
And also
how
the-
can you not have a backup for him? And
Yeah.
that is what we had an interview. If you haven't checked out that interview with the earlier auctioneer, it is on Sports Today.
He's called a conductor.
Conductor. So yes. So just like a conductor directs an orchestra, this is what an auctioneer does. He conducts the entire auction. How can you not have someone back up? It's good that the reports that are coming that he's fine, he's stable, 3:30 it starts, they've taken an early lunch. All of this is fine, but God forbid if it was a very serious situation, what would you have done?
And it's also a long auction, a 2-day long auction, and not for 4-5 hours. It can go up to 12 hours.
Yeah.
That age.
Yeah.
Age is also a factor. He's quite old, and he has to stand. He cannot even sit and speak continuously for hours with just little breaks in between. So, and that too for 2 days. So it's a bit
So, yeah, valid.
hectic for a person to.
But I'm sure they're used to that. I'm sure they do charity events, they do a lot of auction events, and I'm sure they're used to the fact that
No, the
they have to
point-
be
the point of-
standing there for quite a few hours. It's just that it's always good to
point
have a
of-
backup.
the
That I
point of
completely
having a
agree
backup
with.
is-
That if there's a backup, if something would have gone wrong with Humanities, we do not know what would have happened to the IPL auction entirely, because everybody was in town especially for this auction.
Yeah.
So
Okay, let's answer a few questions.
Yeah.
You guys can answer. No, have the mic. Any one of you can. I'm just going to throw the question and then you guys can answer it. Anand Tiwari wants to know, why did he fall? Was it because of the podium or the auctioneer itself had some issue?
Well, details that everybody is saying it's a physical fall. Maybe he lost his balance, maybe something happened, maybe he tripped. But we do not know for sure exactly what happened. But the BCI and everybody, the news outlets are reporting that he is fine. Like there's no internal issues as such. It was just a physical fall.
So that is Ankit Kumar. Thank you for your comments. Thanks for joining us, all of you who are watching us. There are lots of comments on the strategy. Let me take a few. Abhishek says, disappointed with CSK strategy. I think CSK was trying, but never be disappointed with their strategy. I always know that CSK Thala will have something in mind. Deepak Chahar and Shardul are yet to come.
Sure. See, Shardul will be the Shardul Lord Shardul Thakur will be the most expensive buyer in this season of IPL.
Rohit Kumar is sending us a comment saying that the blood pressure was low and that's why he had fallen. We don't know whether it is authentic information. I'm just taking comments of, our family members who are joining us. So he says maybe BP, BP could be an issue. So a lot of people are saying. Dream World also says he's fallen because of low BP. Yes.
Low on energy. Need some chocolate bars inside him.
He was
Yes.
standing there for a longer time. He wasn't moving, so. But we are still waiting.
It was for Hasaranga, I think.
Yeah, Hasaranga.
Which was ongoing for such a long time.
It was a bidding war for Hasaranga.
Like, I thought he'll be big, but never thought he'll go up way above 10. He's already on 10.75. And by the way, when he fell, that auction did not look like it would slow down. You were thinking that they'd keep going for Hasaranga, the two teams that are involved. So I really think Hasaranga is going to get some big payday. 10.75 crores already, and probably looking at 11 or 12 crores as well.
Okay.
But I had one question. Okay, so KKR, specifically KKR, their auction purse, if I'm not wrong, is what? 20.5 crores right now? Or how much is it?
Sorry.
KKR's auction purse, I think so.
Yeah, we'll have to look at one question, and all of us spend some time answering it. I'll start and I'll answer. A lot of people have said about Harshal Patel. Should they have not retained him? I think the problem would have been because of the price at what you had to retain. 7 crores now looks fine, but one thing, you couldn't preempt it that he's going to go for 10. And secondly, between Siraj and Harshal, I think it was a touch and go. If they had retained Harshal and not retained Siraj, then what would have happened? Maybe Siraj would have gone for 10.5. So that was a gamble you had to take. And none of them would have agreed for a 4 CR retainership, which is much lower.
I sort of disagree a little here. I believe they could have very well retained either Harshal Patel or Yuzvendra Chahal for that matter. Those were my first two.
No, you're saying then it'll have to be ahead of Mohammad Siraj.
Mohammad Siraj. My entire point was when Siraj's name came up, when the retention list was announced, I was actually surprised. I knew they're going to retain, of course, Virat Kohli, Glenn Maxwell. Everybody knew. Every cricket fan in India knew they're going to retain those two. But that third player, we thought it could be Devdutt Padikkal, we thought it could be Harshal Patel, we thought it could be Yuzvendra Chahal, and we thought it could be Siraj also. But Siraj among those four, for me, was that number 4. Even though I really like Siraj as a player, he has done tremendously well over these past 2-3 years. Bowled his heart out, as I have said earlier. Like the way he comes in and bowls, it looks like that Dale Steyn kind of aura he has around him, with that fire burning inside him every time he runs into bowl. But my entire point was with the form Harshal Patel was in, and the way he can bat at those 30-40 odd runs if they're needed lower down the order. I was quite surprised by RCB's decision. Actually baffled is the word, that they did not go for Harshal Patel.
Yeah, again.
Yeah, but I think it was a tough call for them, I think, and we'll have to wait and watch that with this 4-5 crores. Will this hurt them or not? But I think at the end of the day, they have got Harshal Patel back. They have Siraj. So it was a touch and go call. I mean, I can't blame them for it. If I would have been in their position, maybe I would have gone for Siraj as well. So fair enough for them, I think.
You would have picked Siraj. So nobody thought of Chahal or what? I think Chahal, he's India's premier leg spinner. I think he's also gonna fetch a decent price.
Yeah.
So very surprising that way, that there was no.
But now they have both Siraj and Harshal Patel with them. So.
But also you now don't know whether
I
they'll.
think Harshal is gone for 10.75 crores. 10 point something crores, है ना? 10.75.
Also, I just want to say, I'm not even sure whether RCB will again try and go for Chahal at all, because the way, even though Vanindu Hasaranga played for them last year, but today also that bidding war, Hasaranga's bidding war, it was RCB and Punjab Kings who were involved. And it was like they kept whispering to each other, and every time you thought that they're going to stop, they just raise it. So
I think Mumbai Indians will be the team going after Yuzvendra Chahal for that fact. And
yeah, so I was correct. So Kolkata Knight Riders, they still have got 18 players to go, by the way.
And they have 27 crores.
Only 20.5 crores.
27.50.
No, that's the auction.
20.5 crores.
20.5.
And players are 18 players.
So 18 players for 20 odd crores, Kolkata will find it tough now.
Yeah, but see, we sometimes look at that. We're looking at 18 and whatever. You may get 30 lakh, 5 players. So 5 players done in 1 crore is also possible.
It's also about filling the squad, so you can get those 20 lakh, 30 lakh buys. And
What is the minimum? 15 is the minimum. I think 16. 16 is the minimum that you need to have in a squad. But teams prefer somewhere around 20.
I've like Bombay always have so many players. You always look like I've not seen this guy play a game at all, but he's part of the squad. We talked about Jitesh Sharma also. You remember Vidarbha wicket keeper batsman. He was also part of the squad.
If you talk about these two teams, Mumbai Indians and Sunrisers Hyderabad, haven't bought a player yet. What do you think behind this? Is there any specific strategy or what they are thinking? Are they? The Quinton de Kock is gone.
Bairstow. Sunrisers will go for Bairstow.
So they are waiting for Bairstow.
Bairstow, Mitchell Marsh also. There's Tom Moody sitting there. Mitchell Marsh has played for Sunrisers before, and I definitely feel because they did not go for they did not get Jason Holder, who was there last year. He was Mitchell Marsh's replacement in a way. So now, because of the form Mitchell Marsh is in, I definitely think that Sunrisers will go big on it.
But I think Bolt is gone. Quinton
Yeah.
de Kock, I thought that Mumbai Indians will retain. They'll get back Quinton de Kock, or for that fact Trent Bolt maybe. But Mumbai Indians haven't.
Mumbai are saving it for Ishan Kishan.
Only for Ishan Kishan, they still have to.
Okay, you were talking about SRH, right? Yeah. So
They haven't spent a penny. Their auction purse is still 68 crores.
SRH.
Yeah.
Do you think they can spoil the party for Chennai Super Kings when it comes to Shardul Thakur, Deepak Chahar?
I really think so. I think they are looking at those all-rounders, be it batting all-rounders, be it bowling all-rounders. I feel Sunrisers will definitely go for it because Tom Moody himself was a player like that, and I definitely think that Mitchell Marsh is going to be in their plans, and Shardul Thakur also, as you rightly pointed out.
So Mitchell Marsh, Shardul Thakur, Deepak Chahar.
And the point is,
Bhuvi has not come up yet, na?
No.
What do you think? Will they go for Bhuvi?
I actually don't think so. They'll go for Bhuvi this time. Bhuvi's form, even though he's part of the Indian T20 squad recently, but he's not done so well in recent times, even for SRH for that matter.
Agreed, but see, there's one thing, this is why I say, na, the economic lesson that you guys were talking about, IPL auction is never about who's a better player, it's supply and demand. And I'm saying, experienced Indian fast bowlers, again, very, very few options. And when you have that, I have a feeling that people may bid for Bhuvi. Also, I think, with his experience, 4 overs, I think he can do your job. 4 overs, he'll do the job better than 100 other bowlers.
Also, talking of the young pacers, Avesh Khan, I think, is also
Big.
He'll be big.
Avesh.
Because the way he played for Delhi, and I think his growth is also being on the upwards. Like he started for Delhi, he finished those matches, bowled those good Yorkers. I think he's going to fetch a big amount.
But Rajasthan also, like in the early rounds itself, Rajasthan have come out all guns blazing. Huh? They have
Initially,
they have picked up
every player. Initially, they were raising hands for every player, and
I think Royals are done for the day with the amount they spent. I think they've got
No,
their...
but they still have more money than Kolkata.
Yeah.
so we have a super chat, Nikhil bhai. So it is why CSK is not going for new players. It's from Akhilesh Kucheria, if I have pronounced the name right. Why CSK is not going behind new players?
That's because CSK loves more experienced players. Dad's army.
But they were called Dad's Army, then they went on to win the title. So why won't they stick to that?
But then why did
mantra?
they not bid for Shikhar Dhawan, for David Warner,
No, but
Duplessis?
is gone. That actually we were discussing. You were not here. We were discussing why did they not bid for Duplessis. I was actually surprised. Gun fielder, great opening batsman, second highest run scorer last year. 2 runs behind Ruturaj
Not
Gaikwad.
even bid for him.
They bid, but then they stopped.
In between, and then
Value they are seeing, na? Value.
7 crores. So 7 crores Duplessis went for.
Umesh Raina gone unsold. That another member
See,
of the
you guys were not agreeing with me. I had
No,
said
I was
base
agreeing.
price.
I was
said
agreeing
base
either
price.
base price. So no.
No. no.
A
I'll
lot
tell
of
you why
teams-
I'm saying Lucknow won't buy him. I interviewed the Lucknow franchise owner and mentor Gautam Gambhir few days ago, which is on Sports Today. You can check it out. And in that, I had specifically asked this question: that are you also going to be bidding for local UP players, considering you are representing UP, not the city? To which they had replied both categorically. I thought maybe at least in terms of interview, they would say no, yes, we'll bid. Both Gautam Gambhir and Mr. Goenka had said no. It's not about state, whatever. So Mr. Goenka first said it's not about state. We have to pick players that are going to win. So he's very clear. They are going in to win. Gautam Gambhir had asked a backup, a follow-up question where I said, not only are they local players, but these are players that have played with you in KKR. For example, you've got Ankit Rajput, you've got Piyush Chawla, you have, a few other names that are not coming to my mind, who are UP players. And there's Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, there is Suresh Raina, so pretty, well-known guys that you can bid for. So ask that question, then why don't you go for that? And even Gautam Gambhir said, he said, things are in the past, that's old. Whatever happened in the past is past. I want to concentrate on now. So that was enough sign that they were not going to go for UP players. So that answers your question why they didn't go for.
No, but
Suresh.
I honestly thought...
Abhishek,
I-
Akhilesh, I'm sure you are satisfied with that answer. And
I also
in
want to-
MS Dhoni's words, I have nothing more to add.
I also just want to add a little bit to that Suresh Raina thing. See, for me, Raina is past his prime, well past his prime now. That's one thing. Second thing is, if any team picks him up, it'll be either for his base price, and because I don't think there'll be a lot of people going for him. And the second thing is, they'll be looking at him for his experience. Maybe he could play that mentoring role as well and play those 2, 3, 4 games at max if needed. So that is what I guess the franchisees will be looking at Suresh Raina, if at all they are thinking about getting him. When they do that second round, right? When all the unsold, they'll ask franchisees to give the names of the players they want to see again in the auction.
I think Suresh Raina, if you are a Suresh Raina fan, don't worry. I think he'll come back and he will be sold. Just I'm running through for a lot of people who are joining us, close to 600 people who are watching us. I want to tell them what has happened, what has not happened, and few standout things for me. One, Shikhar Dhawan going to Punjab at 8.25 crore and Ashwin going to Rajasthan at 5. I think both are at par. I expected that kind of money to go. Rabada at 9.25 crore to Punjab Kings. Also I expected. Maybe you thought go over 10. I think it's a good buy at that price. I think a steal, some big things to watch out. Quinton de Kock to Lucknow at 6.75 crore. Very good deal for Lucknow. I think he would have gone close to 8-9 crores. He's got it at 6.75. That is fantastic as far as Quinton de Kock is concerned. David Warner also great deal at 6.25 crore going to Delhi. Remember, Delhi is a franchise that David Warner has been part of earlier. He returns to that franchise.
That's where he started his IPL career.
Correct. So if they don't have Shikhar now, they have David Warner, a lefty to start with. So it will be a destructive opening partnership, Prithvi Shaw and David Warner. I think that's a good buy. Hetmeyer at 8.5 crore to Rajasthan. I'm a bit surprised. Remember, Hetmeyer is not part of the West Indian squad because he's not fit. So he doesn't make the West Indies team. I know he had a decent IPL last time and the IPL before that. And he's a rare commodity. That means there are very few middle order batsmen that can whack the ball. Yeah. So which is why Hetmeyer is there. That's good. But 8.25 crores very
Nobody
surprising.
expected Hetmeyer to go for that much, 8.5 crores. But he provides that finisher sort of role. He did that for Delhi last year. And you remember how Ricky Ponting kept playing him.
Yeah.
Ricky Ponting always had him in his side because when Hetmeyer was playing, he was scoring those 30-40 quick runs.
Yeah.
Won them a couple of games, in fact. Towards
the
the
end,
end, won them a couple of games, scored those 40-odd crucial runs that needed like around a 200
Someone
run
like
strike
him
rate.
for 8.5 crores is not.
But nobody expected him to go for that much.
8.5 crores and players like Pat Cummins and they are all going for 7.5 and 5 and 6. But Hetmeyer going for.
No, but I actually expected Hetmeyer to go for more than Pat Cummins.
He hasn't performed that well that you will
But
cross.
so similar is the case with Pat Cummins. Pat Cummins has taken 21 wickets in 21 games in the IPL. That's not what you expect of somebody you are paying.
Supply and demand, supply and demand.
15.8 crores they paid. So they actually KKR got him for less than half the price they paid for him last time.
Another thing, Faf du Plessis going to RCB for 7 crore. I think a good price. And Faf du Plessis is your next captain. So Faf du Plessis is your RCB captain. And that is why they've picked him at 7 crore, good price.
Done deal. Next.
Done deal. You heard
Nikhil-
it first
Nikhil
on,
has given
you
thumbs
heard it
up.
first on Sports Today. I'm telling you, Faf to Plessis.
RCB's new captain, Faf du Plessis.
So no Maxwell as captain, huh?
No Maxwell as captain. Faf du Plessis is the RCB captain, I'm telling you, on Sports Today. If it doesn't happen, you can make a meme out of it.
Guys, remember this statement. Nikhil has said this. Make a meme out of it. If Glenn Maxwell is the captain, because I think they could actually go for Glenn Maxwell also.
Okay, Tushar. No, first Sunandan Basu says, Padikkal, should RCB not have tried to retain him, he being the local player? I agree with you, Sunando. And they did bid for him, to be fair to RCB. They did bid for him. But I think at the price that he was going with, they thought maybe not worth it. So it'll have to be interesting. I think we can judge it at the end based on their strategy towards the end. But at the moment, the price that he was going with, I don't think that would have been perfect. Any thoughts on that? Padikkal?
I think he deserved that price. I thought RCB could have.
RCB
should have gone for him because Padikkal, the 2 seasons he has played for RCB, the last 2 seasons, he has done really well for them.
He looks really mature on the field.
He in
is a
fact,
kind of player
he
that
was
should
so
be
good.
retained and
He was,
go on. Nurtured over a period of time. Players like him, Rituraj Gaikwad, young openers. I was saying this season, this IPL season, I was telling him as well. They are your two new openers for Indian team, Gaikwad and Padikkal in future. Because they are so particular and they've played so nicely in the field that I think
So,
he
yeah.
should be retained and nurtured in.
So they should have retained him. Is what I think, because Padikkal for me is a special talent himself. Did ever so well in the Syed Mushtaq Ali and Vijay Hazare. Was scoring hundreds for fun in one of those 2020 season, if I'm not wrong. So for me, Padikkal deserved that kind of prize money because you know, first of all, his base price was 2 CR. So everybody, he knew it himself that he's going to fetch the big bucks this time. 7.75 crore, I think so. That was a decent bet for somebody who would play all 14 games and give you around 30 to 40 runs per innings in every match, like at an average. So I think they missed out, and Padikkal that way should have been part of RCB. Now I feel like they might not even go for Yuzvendra Chahal because they are bidding so. They are going for Vanindu Hasaranga. Like the way they are going for him, 10.75 crore is the current bid. And yeah, so who will be left? Only Harshal Patel they have gotten back, RCB, from somebody
And
who
paid
was there.
10.75 crores.
Paid a hefty amount
No,
for
so
it.
Tushar Agi has a super chat. He says that Mumbai CSK have been quite pragmatic till now, and CSK surprisingly didn't go for Faf. So his question is, maybe RCB committed captaincy to Faf. See, that may be the case, but you still have no control over what CSK does. Now, we are surprised that CSK didn't bid lot more for him. I think it could have served two purposes. Because of the impact that he's had, I think 7 crore is worth for Faf, so you should have gone for it and got him at that price. Even if you did not, let's say 7 years a threshold, you could have pushed the bid a bit higher. You could have forced RCB to spend more money in the auction. That's a strategy that you should employ. So it would have been a two-pronged attack, which I think Chennai should have done, and I'm surprised Chennai didn't do it. They let go of Faf very easily. They bid for him, but then went back very easily. So even though RCB may have had a talk saying, okay, we'll commit captaincy, but they have no control over how much CSK bid, na? So that CSK should have bid. I'm surprised.
See, both of them, like for example, Warner also, I think the factor that played in the minds of the franchises must have been their age. They're not that young anymore. And it's now looking at a 3-year cycle. But because you have seen them perform ever so well in the IPL, being so consistent. Warner had an off year last year. You remember 2016, he had a great season. The moment he came back from that sandpaper gate, you remember he was the orange cap holder that season. So Warner also has been a consistent performer all these years. Faf du Plessis also. And my entire point is both of them are great fielders as well. So they add a lot of value on the field. So for the kind of money they got bought for, I expected those bids to be a little higher than what they were. But of course, their age could have played a factor.
Which wicket keeper will KKR go for? Back to DK.
I don't think. Someone young.
Quinton de Kock is gone.
Yeah.
Ishan Kishan.
Johnny Bairstow?
Shreyas Iyer, Ishan Kishan, both in
Johnny Bairstow?
They might go for it.
Johnny Bairstow if they get him cheap?
Hey, Matthew Wade.
My
Matthew Wade, huh? We are forgetting that name. Remember, Matthew Wade, the Australian wicketkeeper batsman. he's the guy you can.
They might also go for Ambati Raidu as a wicket keeper. Do you think? Ambati Raidu, wicket keeping option.
No, Raidu has registered himself as a wicket keeper this time.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, in this auction he has registered
They
himself
might go for-
as a
Do
wicket
you think?
keeper.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Why not? Ambati Raidu is a good option. That they can.
I
go
think
for.
a value buy that we haven't talked about yet is Robin Uthappa.
Gone back home.
No,
2 crores to CSK.
Gone back to CSK, no. Like
Huh.
the kind of impact he had at the end of the season. Came in for those 3-4 games right at the end and lost his innings in the final. And then, like, he provided that impetus right after those first 2 wickets. Like if one of either Ruturaj Gaikwad or Duplessis failed, there was Robin Uthappa who scored that 30 quick runs
So I
and
think
then give that impetus
He has
to
been
sort of
rewarded
have a great
for that
finish.
performance, I think. He's back to DJ Bravo is back to Chennai Super Kings.
Just taking a few comments. RCB का कीपर कौन होगा? Saksham wants to know. Maybe you can say. I think
Will they go for Ishan Kishan?
somebody Tushar says Mumbai Indian believes on making legend players, not buying legend players. Wow, Tushar.
आप मुंबई के fan हैं तुषार.
हाँ.
We can clearly see it.
So what are the wicket keeping options for RCB?
No, I'll tell you the wicket keeping options available now. So it's Johnny Bairstow, Sam Billings, Dinesh Karthik, Ishan Kishan, Nicholas Puran, Ambati Raidu, and Riddhiman Saha, Matthew Wade.
Matthew Wade. I'm telling you, there will be a decent bid for Matthew Wade. Take it from me.
His World Cup performance and the way he batted. Still now, they are playing T20 Sri Lanka.
But for me, my point is you'll have to decide where Matthew Wade bats. If you are having him in your side, see he has done so well for Hobart Hurricanes. That's how he's come to the Australian side, by the way. He's been picked for that Australian T20 side because he was performing so well for the Hobart Hurricanes, top of the order though.
Just to let you know, Siddhant watches all cricket. That's why we have him here. All cricket. That is not just IPL.
BBL, PCL, PSL, NatWest T20 Blast, the 100, everything I watch.
Good. So give him.
So my entire point was Matthew Wade usually opens the innings for Hobart Hurricanes, and that's his claim to fame when it comes to T20 cricket. If you see, he is not batted at the top of the order for Australia. Even yesterday in the game against Sri Lanka, he was batting at 4-5 down. So
Fifth or
for me,
sixth.
he is the most effective at the top of the order. And if you're not looking at him as an opener, you should not buy him.
What about Nicholas Puran as a wicketkeeper?
Nicholas Puran, my problem with him is
So we have a chat here. Somebody said
miss an hit.
Nicholas Puran. I missed your name. Sorry. He says Nicholas Puran going to RCB. Yes, yeah, that's not a bad option. I'm going to take a super chat. Rajiv Jha is a regular watcher of sports today. He says, nice setup, Nikhil. Thank you so much. Is it a permanent setup? No. We are in the process of making a permanent setup. That will take a few months maybe. But for the moment, for the 2 days of the IPL, we are here.
enjoy his hair.
And we have left no stone unturned, so no complaints about audio. Yeah, but he has a question. He says he's not happy with the Rajasthan Royals 2 buys, that's Hetmeyer and Devdutt. They spent too much on them, and RR already have Jaiswal, Butler as their regular openers. Come on, thoughts from both.
Yeah, this is where the surprising factor came in for Devdutt Padikkal. If you have Yashasvi Jaiswal, who was opening for you, if you have Josh Butler, who you know is the most effective batsman when he's batting at the top of the order, why would you have Devdutt Padikkal?
Yeah, that's-
somebody would have to bat in the middle order.
Same
so
thing I've told you
RR's
when
approach,
they were
what
going
Kumar,
behind Dhawan.
Kumar Sangakkara is thinking nobody really knows. He might be thinking at a different batting sort of lineup altogether. You remember they were trying Ben Stokes at the top of the order and then Josh Butler in the middle order.
For a team that keeps playing Riyan Parag for every game, I don't know what to say. That's been I'm just taking a quick comment. You guys can continue with that chat. One thing, which is
But yeah, Hetmeyer, that kind of price, as you rightly pointed out, it was surprising. I
Okay.
never thought he's going to get more than 6 crores.
so. Mohammad bin Harris is watching us from Pakistan. Thanks for joining us. We watch the PSL too, and it's great to see you have interest in the IPL. Then Glint says Nicholas Puran to RCB confirmed. Glint, if that happens, we'll give you a shout out. Sir, Nikantha Tripathi says, a very interesting comment by Nikantha. He's saying, sir, the 2 new teams we thought are knobs, but they performed very well as of now. Thoughts? Noobs. What is that? That's a Noobs.
Basically, that they don't know.
They
much
don't know
about
anything.
it.
They are novices.
Novices.
New age word for.
Yeah, noobs. No, I think every team has that think tank. Okay, they are spending such a big amount. 90 crore is a huge amount. So I'm sure they all have their strategies in place. I'm sure they are talking about what exactly needs to be done.
Exactly.
So
And
I don't think it is like if you're a new team in the IPL, you don't know how to go about an auction. You always have those players in your mind where you think yes, this is the one I want to buy. Sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. And then you're like, if you don't get that sort of an option, as is the supply and demand,
yeah.
you look for
so
that.
I
other
think
player.
the only thing new is the name, logo, and all these things. The think tank is.
And not to forget,
the
Rising Pune
experience-
Super Giants
they-
have reached the final. Before.
Yeah, they experienced people behind, and they have good mentors. They have coaches, and so they have all plans. All plans are set. It's nothing like they're new players. They don't. They're new team, new franchise. They don't know anything. They have already set their plans. So I'll repeat that.
I still can't believe you both look the same. Like, it's like white inside. Nikhil, tomorrow you are also wear white sneakers perhaps.
So Gujarat Titans as of now have Shubman Gill, Jason Roy, Hardik, Rashid, and Shami. So they have bought Shami, Jason Roy today, and they have still left with 43.75 crores.
Answer this question, and I'm also in agreement with Amit Kumar Jha. Why did Shakib Hasan go unsold? I'm surprised. And again, we have to take criticism also. We had made a list of top 5 all-rounders that will get decent amount of bids, and we included Shakib there. So I'm really surprised. Unless there is an issue with his availability in terms of Bangladesh players, I don't know whether that is an issue.
Or maybe they are waiting for him to go to that unsold round, and then they'll buy again. KKR, for that fact, I thought KKR will buy him at the base price or maybe somewhat above that, because he has played decently well for KKR.
Plus, KKR has a massive fan following in Bangladesh.
Massive. Great.
It's
That is precisely why I thought they bought Shakib in the first place.
So my sources tells me that it's a part of a strategy, and so that they're sending player to the unsold round and they'll buy him again.
Yeah, I
On the
think
base- on the base
a
price.
lot of these players that you see and you're surprised that they did not get picked, you never know. They might come for that final round where franchises right at the end of the auction are told to give a list of names, the players that they probably want to look at again, and then when
So there
their
is an
names
update. There is an update on the auctioneer bid that CHARU SHARMA, the well-known cricket commentator, is going to continue as the IPL auctioneer. The IPL auctioneer is not in the state to continue. So 3:30 the auction will continue. See, that's what I was saying. That is what I was saying, that maybe because that fall didn't look great, whether it was a physical fall or whether it was a internal injury fall, we don't know. We were only going by the update being given by the BCCI, but now the news is that the veteran presenter CHARU SHARMA is going to take over as the auctioneer to go ahead and conduct the auction. But the news on the auctioneer, Mr. Hugh Edmund, is that he's better, but may not be fit to continue. So that's the latest news that we are giving you on Sports Today, that CHARU SHARMA, the veteran broadcaster, is going to be someone who will continue the auction from here, and taking over for Mr. Hugh Edmund, who was conducting the auction earlier. For those of you who are joining us right now, just to let you know that he had a fall. We're still trying to confirm what we've been told by the BCCI, that it was a physical fall, but we're just trying to ascertain what the reason was, or whether it was a issue. We are being told that it was a BP issue as of now, that we're getting to hear, that maybe he had high BP, 80-40 BP is what low BP, I beg
Low
your
BP.
pardon, at 80-40, and that is why he fell down. We saw the visuals of him having fallen down. That wasn't looking, the visuals were very, very scary. That's
Yeah.
why we were a bit surprised when we were told that 3:30 it will continue and he is going to be continuing with the auction. I wasn't one ready to believe, and now we're getting confirmation that it will be CHARU SHARMA, the veteran cricket commentator, who may conduct the auction. So that's the latest update on that front.
yeah, sort of a delay now because of all that happened in
Yeah, we'll just
Bangalore.
around 15
But
odd minutes
3:30
away from the.
3:30 CHARU SHARMA will take over now, and hopefully
We'll continue with
Vanendu Hasan
Haranga's bid will
probably
continue
will be
with
like,
that.
how much am I getting? Oh wait, like for an hour he doesn't know. now how much he'll be getting. if he
Hasaranga's
ends up
bid
with.
will be the one
But
continued for so long.
But I think so he's being rewarded for his exceptional performances in the recent past. Nobody talks about his batting, by the way. Hasaranga
He's
is
a
a
decent batsman,
very
yeah.
decent batsman. He can. He was in fact for Sri Lanka itself. He was batting at times 2 down, 3 down. So you can imagine he's that sort of player who can bowl those leg spin. Took 3 wickets yesterday, if I'm not wrong, against Australia.
Against Australia.
Hasaranga
Three
took
wickets
3 wickets yesterday. If many of you don't remember, 3 for Adam Zampa.
Just tell me if
And
people-
4 for Josh
If
Hazelwood.
people are bidding for Hasaranga that much, why not Adam Zampa? So maybe the ones who lost out on Hasaranga
Will
go
go
for
for-
Zampa, foreign leg spinner.
But it is possible actually. But my point is, I am also surprised to see Hasaranga fetch that big amount. I never thought he's gonna go beyond 10. Like first of all, beyond 5 for that matter, because the 2-3 games he played for RCB last year, he looked off color. Nobody thought he's gonna fetch that bigger prize. But yeah, his performances at the T20 World Cup, the highest wicket taker during that tournament, definitely has come into the picture. Then people must have looked at his performance yesterday. See, also the memories, the franchise, of course, do a lot of homework when it comes to players' performances over the past year, everything, and how they have done in pressure situations. But it also happens that when you are in the news in recent times, when you are having that sort of a player that many think is not going to get his due, for somebody like Sri Lankan cricket has been sort of, has been sort of on a decline in the past few years. So for a player to get that sort of recognition, for me, is huge. And Hasaranga, because of
I think Sri Lankan cricket as well, I agree with him on this point that Sri Lankan cricket has been declining for a few years now. Those great names, and we don't talk much about these players now, but players like Hasaranga and these are performing well, and
Asalanka.
Asalanka.
Let's take a comment. Shashank Shukla sent a super chat. Both of you would be happy to hear. He says, 2 young and knowledgeable guys getting airtime on Sports Today. It's my request to continue this and not make Sports Today. So, he means to say that continue with this good performance of Sports Today. So,
Thank you, sir.
2 young guys. For those of you who don't know, joining me are my colleagues. We work on TV together. Siddhant is on my right and Saransh is on my left. So they are also cricket crazy, just as me and Rahul, who join you more often. So that is it. I've answered a lot of your questions about Shakib. Amit, I've already answered that. So I'm just trying to take some new comments. I think we'll continue till 3:30. And once the auction starts, we'll take a bit of a break and then come once the auction is over.
You can send in your queries as well. We still have around 12 odd minutes left for your questions. We are happy to answer as many as you want.
Alex Carey registered for auction?
I think so. He must have registered for the auction. There's no way. See, he's now Australia's top wicketkeeper.
Vivek Mishra has a question. Is Mumbai saving money to buy Krunal Pandya, and he's put a smiley? Vivek, don't be
Cheeky.
surprised if they could bid for him. Don't be surprised. They could bid for
Absolutely.
him. But I think they will face tough competition from Ahmedabad,
Gujarat for sure.
from Gujarat Titans.
The brothers want to be reunited.
No, and to be fair again, an Indian all-rounder
Valuable
is rare.
buy.
It's value for money. It's rare for anyone to get an Indian all-rounder. And if you have someone like a Krunal Pandya, I'm sure there will be a few teams interested in him.
No, definitely. He gives
Yeah.
you those 4 overs, can bat. In fact, he has won a lot. If you see, if Mumbai loses 2 or 3 early wickets, ahead of Kieron Pollard, ahead of Hardik Pandya, it's Krunal Pandya who used to come. So for that sort of a role, I think he's suitable. But of course, even if Mumbai goes for him, I think so they're going to find, as Nikhil pointed out, quite a big and stiff competition from Gujarat.
Okay, so someone said, have you seen Rohit Sharma's new story? So the new story is very interesting. All the players watching the IPL auction together in the hotel room. It is Yuzi Chahal, Ishan Kishan, and that is Shreyas Iyer, Shardul Thakur. Rishabh Pant is relaxing and Surya Kumar Yadav is also relaxing.
So all of them are basically the big money buys this
Yeah,
IPL.
either sold
So all of them are like you got 2 crores more than me.
Yeah.
Wait, I got 2 crores more than you.
And my name is yet to
So
come.
I'm sure there'll be so much banter, but meanwhile, I'm sure there's people like Ishan Kishan,
But
the people like you,
Rohit said yesterday in the press conference, I'll switch off my phone and I'll not be around.
No, but I'm sure Rohit
And
is
now-
chilling. I'm sure
Rohit
he's
is
making
there.
fun of all of them.
Absolutely.
Say, yesterday after the press, after the match, he was asked about it.
Yeah, he said that everyone is talking about IPL auctions up now, but I'll keep my phone switched off when
Because he doesn't want anyone to send him complaints. You didn't bid, your team didn't bid for me. I thought tu mera bhai tha, but you never did, something like that.
And also that
But it must be a problem,
that
right?
video which
Say,
Chahal
imagine a
asking-
player really likes you. He's the captain of the most successful franchisee in IPL history, and you're like, भाई आपने मेरे लिए bid भी नहीं किया.
And if as a fan, I may ask you a question that what it's like. You have been around cricketers for so long, and every one of them. What it's like? You are the captain of the team. I am playing under you. You have dropped me, or maybe in an IPL auctions, you are my good friend. You are the captain of the team. You haven't bought me. I've got unsold. So what those conversations are like?
No, they will see. Conversations are tough. Some people don't like to have conversations, so they'll just move on, forget about it, and just move on. And there will be some awkwardness that will continue for some time. Some will be awkwardness, but will never mention it, and on the face will be fine. You have that. But to say that it does not affect relationship, that would be a lie. It does affect relationship when you pick someone, drop someone. I think if I was captain and if I was doing all of this, I would say, listen, and you were there in the auction and you were saying, Nikhil bhai, kya mere ko? I'll say, boss, mere dekho, main to tumhare saath hi baitha hu. I have no role to play in the auction. These guys at the table are deciding. Even though I may have had a role, but I would have told them a night before that go for this. And now I'll sit and say, boss, you see, I am with you now. We are all having chai together. We are all watching auction together. What role do I have? The owners will decide. So that's a smart way of looking. But players are tense. It does affect relationship. See, at the end of the day, everyone's human now. You see what works for you, what doesn't work for you. So in that sense.
Lord Shardul
Another
asking
player-
KL Rahul how much money you have kept for me in the
One
auctions.
player that we
video.
haven't talked about at all is Jason Roy. What did you make of his 2 crore?
No, very good. A very good deal for them. Yeah.
He's not been in great form though.
He's just recently scored 100 in the PSL.
Yeah, but
And
again,
then, but see, Jason Roy for me is that sort of player. If he plays one innings, he can score 100. Next innings, he can be out for a duck also. So if you have a player like him, because England love him, Owen Morgan loves him. He is, even though Alex Hales, they've tried other openers around Jason Roy, and now George Butler takes that second opening position. But Roy has been that constant on the top in their limited overs side. And that's because he gives them those 60, 70, 80 quick runs right at the beginning. And from there, it's just like the others have to come. And even if they score at around a strike rate of 130, 140, England gets those big scores. In T20s.
no, Hugh is not continuing. Hugh Edmundez, who is the auctioneer, he had a fall. What we are being told that low BP resulted in that fall. Those images were not looking good. He was lying face first, and just the shock on everyone's face in the auction room. Though I must say there were a couple of, or at least one person I saw, while everyone was shocked and stood up, there was one person still typing away his data.
He probably did not realize or something, because I also was surprised.
No. When everyone had gotten up and looking, he was still busy typing.
Because I remember I got up.
Tweeting it out.
Because
Man of
the
sheer focus and will.
visuals, the images
So
were
what I'm
so
saying, Nikhil bhai,
dramatic.
it's 320.
Like everybody, I got up from my seat at one point. I'm like, what just happened?
The reactions and faces of Shahrukh's daughter and son, Gautam Gambhir, Goenka, they were all very tense looking at. So what I'm saying is, it's 3:23 now. What we can do is we can take a 10-minute break now and come back at 3:35.
We'll come back at 3:40 or so. We'll end at 3:30. I'm waiting for someone to come and end it for us. Now we can't do it ourselves. So there will be someone who will come and do that. So we'll go on for another 5 minutes or so. But meanwhile, we're getting a lot of questions as well. Who will Mumbai? Yeah, I didn't finish the update on the auctioneer. So auctioneer had a fall. It's not looking good. But having said that, auction will start at 3:30 p.m. and Charu Sharma, the veteran commentator, is the one who will continue the auction from there on. So that is the latest update from the auction table. So I fingers crossed, hoping and praying for the auctioneer
Well-being.
for
Let's
his
hope.
well-being.
Let's hope he's fine. And I'm hoping, even if it's Charu Sharma today, I hope Hugh Edmides is fine enough for him to resume the auction tomorrow.
So, who is Charu Sharma? Somebody is asked. Prat Kumar. Well, Charu Sharma is a very old hand at commentary. He used to be an anchor. Famously did that cricket show with Mandira Bedi, if you remember, 2003.
Extra innings.
Extra innings. Then he's been a commentator behind the scenes as well, using the mic. So he's been there for many years.
He's been a presenter for
sports as well.
other sports also. So
And by the way, the other facet about his life, he's also a co-owner of the Kabaddi
I know.
So
That's what I was
that's why
coming
I'm
to.
saying people didn't know who he was. So
But Charu Sharma is a big name in the media industry.
yeah,
That's true.
You'll see him anyway. Some like Sai Kiran is saying, old Doordarshan commentator.
Exactly.
Yes, sir,
Even
was.
now, even when there were Olympics happening, Commonwealth Games happening, that DD feed that used to come, when they were talking about the presenters that you used to see, one of them used to be Charu Sharma.
Sai Kiran is saying he was part of one auction. May have been. I remember him doing an auction.
I told him the old days. I also remember.
If it's what IPL, he's definitely done auctions for either Karnataka.
Somebody is
Premier
saying Charu Sharma is a legend.
League. No, he's done auction definitely either for Karnataka Premier League or Karnataka.
He has done it for Karnataka Premier League.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I remember that for Karnataka Premier League.
Because he used to be a presenter for KPL as well.
Yes.
I've covered it myself personally, so I know.
Shubham Kokche saying Gambhir strategy is spot on. I think so. I think
Quinton de Kock, I think,
yeah.
well, best buys this.
okay, there's an official update about Mr. Hugh Edmides. The IPL auctioneer had an unfortunate fall due to postural hypotension during the IPL auction this afternoon. What is that, please?
Low
Google.
BP. Hypotension is low BP.
Oh, okay. So exactly, low BP. The medical team will attend to him immediately after the incident, and he is stable. Mr. Charu Sharma will continue with the auction proceedings today. So low BP resulted in the auctioneer having a fall.
Let's see, you never know. You
Depending
never
on
know.
the-
It will depend on.
So this
whether
is
he
something
feels
we'd already told you on Sports Today, that this is what has happened, and Charu Sharma is going to continue. Yeah, please take a few.
So we have a comment from Bahar Ali. He's from Pakistan. He's saying, MI will go for new emerging players, especially those played under those who played under 19 World Cup, and will prepare those players like Ishan Kishan, Hardik Pandya, etc. But Ishan Kishan will be.
I definitely think
priority.
they'll go big on Ishan Kishan for sure. Because they've let go of Quinton de Kock as well. They need.
They also need a
they
keeping
need an
option. Who will they?
Somebody said, Amit Kumar Jha says, I want to see Nikhil sir as an auctioneer someday. Do you know, I've done an auctioneer for a junior league here in Delhi, and I'll tell you, for Karnataka Premier League, I was approached to do the auction once for Karnataka, and at that time I said.
So
no,
Charu
at that
Sharma
time
got
I'd said-
Charu Sharma got it after
no,
you said
I think
no
it
to
was
that.
after him. He may have done, and maybe he was not available one season, so I got a call, and I said no, I won't be able to do it because I'm not experienced in that, right? I've never done that.
So you'll have to end this session.
We are ending,
in that manner.
No, so
Mic में battery है आपके?
we are ending the session, sir. Now,
Sir, give us 5 minutes. It will end in 5 minutes.
are we ready to end?
I know,
Okay, so
yes.
on that note, we are
Right now.
ending now. We'll be back in about 10-15 minutes. That one round, let it get over. We'll see that one round and come with the analysis. Live feed on